come looking like a thief and a liar, and I'll be taking a blessing that isn't mine, and I'll have a curse brought forth on me. And she tells him to go bring him. She said, listen to me and go get what I told you to get. And she goes out there, he goes out there and brings them 2 children goat, and she cuts them up and gets them all clean and makes them savory meat. And she takes, Jacob said, the reason why he's going to know it isn't me, because I'm a smooth man. For Esau was hairy. Esau was a hairy man. And he goes over there and she cuts the skin or the hair off that goat, and she puts it on him and tells him to take this venison to him, that he will not know it's you. He goes over there and he brings the venison to his father. And he says, here, Father, I've done what you told me to do. I brought you venison, and it's savory meat just like you love it. And he said, who is this? And he said, I'm your firstborn son, Esau. But he said, you know, you sound like Jacob. I'm just paraphrasing. But he said, you sound like my younger one, Jacob. He said, no, Father. He said, I'm Esau. And he told him to come over there. I want to feel you. And he fell on his hands, that he was hairy, and on the back of his neck, that he was hairy. And he said, you sound like Jacob, but you feel like Esau. You're hairy like Esau. So you must be Esau. And he took that venison, and he ate that venison, and he blessed Jacob. He gave Jacob Esau's blessing that he wanted. And the way Jacob got it was coming in as a liar, saying he's something he's not. And that's how the church is today. We're coming in trying to take what's not ours, and we're calling ourselves Christian and going right out the door drinking, doing everything else in the world, and we call ourselves Christians, but do you really act like Christian? Do the church nowadays really act like Christian? They don't want to go outside and talk about God. When they come in the church house, that's all you hear them talk about. But when they go outside, that's the only thing they don't want to talk about. And here they run. That's just like in Galatians 6 chapter 7 verse says, do not be deceived, for God is not mocked. And that's what a bunch of people's been doing today. They've been mocking God, saying there's something like God. I would be afraid if the person going around doing that, saying I'm a Christian and I'm godly and doing everything else in this world. Because to mock God, you know how bad that would be? Yeah. It's one thing to mock the fellow man, but to mock God, that there is horrible. Yeah. The Bible says in Galatians 6 chapter 7 verse, it says, be not deceived, God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that also shall they reap. You're going to reap what you sow. If you come out in this world and act like what you are, act like a sinner, and then come back in and act like a Christian, you're going to sow what you sowed out there. Because God only wants somebody that's willing to give his life for him 100%. They got to come in here, a sinner, they want help, but they can't get help because a lot of times the people coming in saying they're Christian, they're worse than them because they're lying. They're telling them that there's something that they're not, and that's about the change God's gonna move over, and He's gonna take out the ones that ain't right. He's gonna show everybody what's wrong. There ain't nothing we do in darkness that ain't gonna be brought out to light. There's nothing out here in this world that we do that nobody else is gonna find out. God's gonna have to move. And what we got to do is learn how to stand upright. We need to stop trying to look like this world, act like this world. Mama always told me if it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it must be a duck. I tell you what, if you walk like a sinner, act like a sinner, you are a sinner. And until you get to God, come in you and let Him take over your life, that's how you're going to be. That's just like the sinners nowadays. They want help, but they can't find help in the churches today because the people in the church is worse than them. They call out for help, want somebody to help, but they ain't never going to get help because they can't find the one person that's going to help them. We've been giving the sinners names for years, been calling them crackheads. closer to God. That's what we need to do. We need to get closer to God. Let God move in us. A lot of us will listen to what the preacher says 24/7, but we never take anything into account for ourselves. That's where I kind of learned how to study this thing, is because I would listen to what a preacher would say. And I would that's all I wanted to hear was what the preacher would say. But I never did want to read the Bible, because I thought, well, they're telling me everything right. But I started to learn that not everything a preacher says is true. Because a lot of these preachers ain't got close like they said they are. A lot of these preachers ain't got down and sought God like they said they are. And that's what we need to do today. We need to start getting in this Word, because when you can help yourself, then you can help somebody else. You can't be a sinner and help somebody and bring them to God. You got to have God in you. And that's how we need to do today. We need to get out here and get closer to God and quit and get our real names in. They called Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego that all whenever Nebuchadnezzar called for him. That's what they called him. But when he didn't call for him, it was Hananiah, Azariah, and Mishael. And I tell you what, that when they threw him in the flames, they threw him in as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. But the Bible said that he brought the strongest men into the city to bound them and tie them down and throw them in there and make the fire hotter than it is. They threw them in there, and that king started looking. He said, "Oh, do y'all see what I see? Didn't we just throw in 3 men? Because I see 4, and the 4th one looks like the Son of God." But the thing was, when they threw them in that fire, they thought they was throwing them into a burning fire. No, ma'am. They threw them into the Holy Ghost fire. He was ready to hold on to them, because the Bible said that they were set and loose in the flame. And I bet you they were just shouting in there. They were just raising their hands in there. They was having church in that fire, because they knew it was not no fire that's going to burn you. They knew it was Holy Ghost fire in there tonight. That's what we need to get into. We need to quit worrying about what the world says about us. Quit worrying about what the world names us, and just get into what God tells us. Because when the world names you something and you go out carrying that name, you're going to be the world. You're going to be, they never called themselves Shadrach. They didn't go around calling themselves that, because the world named them something that they did not want. That's how a lot of us are today. We've been going around and the world's naming us something. They look at our past to make us go. That's what they do. They look at our past and they tell us that right there's what we are. Not what we are now, but it's our past what we are. But my God tells me that He takes all my sins and casts them in the deepest part of the sea. So whenever you really